The string quartet died mid-phrase. A single violin note hung in the air like a scream that never quite made it out. 312 designer dresses and rented tuxedos turned as one toward the massive screen above the altar. The chandeliers dimmed on perfect cue. The $10,000 lighting package I'd personally approved 6 months earlier. Champagne stopped bubbling in crystal flutes. Perfume clouds. Chanel No. 5. Creed Aventus. Tom Ford Oud Wood. Thickened in the sudden stillness. I stood in the third row on the groom's side, cream silk suit pressed sharp enough to cut, triple strand pearls biting into the skin of my throat like tiny teeth. My son, my only child, my heart walking around outside my body, stood tall at the front in midnight black velvet, shoulders back, eyes shining with that same open, trusting joy he'd worn when he was 6, and I told him Santa was real. He looked at the screen with mild confusion, then amusement, expecting the childhood montage we'd all been promised. The one with baby photos, first steps, awkward prom pictures, the proposal on the beach at sunset. The bride stood beside him in 6-figure ivory lace, veil floating like spun sugar, diamond choker glittering under the soft lights. Her smile was porcelain perfect. Her hands, folded so sweetly, didn't tremble. Not yet. The footage began without title card. No music, no gentle fade-in, just raw time code in the corner. 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 42 seconds, 3 weeks ago. Grainy but unmistakable hotel corridor security camera. Her, my future daughter-in-law. Silk robe the color of fresh cream. Barefoot, hair loose and still damp from a shower. A half-empty bottle of Dom Perignon dangled carelessly from her left hand. She walked with purpose. 7 doors down from her own bachelorette suite. She stopped, raised her knuckles, knocked twice. Soft, intimate. The door opened before the second knock finished echoing, and there he was, the best man, my son's roommate from freshman year, the boy who'd carried him home drunk after every college party, the one who'd stood beside him at every birthday, every graduation, every milestone since they were 18. He wore nothing but grey sweatpants slung low. He didn't speak. He just smiled. That slow, hungry smile I'd seen once before at the rehearsal dinner and dismissed as nerves. He reached out, hooked 2 fingers into the belt of her robe, and pulled her inside. The door clicked shut. The time code kept running. The screen went black for 3 long seconds. Then the next clip. Same hallway. Same timestamp. 47 minutes later. She reappeared. Hair messier. Robe tied looser. Lipstick gone. She glanced once toward the camera, straight at it like she knew it was there, and gave the tiniest smirk before disappearing back into her own room. The room stayed silent, not the polite wedding hush, the kind of silence that happens when 300 people simultaneously forget how lungs work. My son's smile had vanished. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound came out. His knees buckled half an inch before the best man, still standing beside him in the same midnight tux, reached out instinctively to steady him, the same hand that had just been on the screen, pulling my son's fiancée into a hotel room at 2 a.m. I felt it before I heard it, the low, wounded noise my boy made, not loud, not dramatic, just the smallest, softest exhale, like someone had punched the air out of him and forgotten to let him breathe back in. I didn't move, not yet. I'd waited 3 weeks for this moment. 3 weeks of pretending I didn't know. 3 weeks of smiling at dress fittings, approving floral arrangements, tasting cake samples while the footage burned a hole in my phone. 3 weeks of watching my son plan a future with a woman who'd already chosen someone else's bed. I had found the video by accident, or maybe not accident. Maybe fate finally decided to stop being subtle. I'd been in the hotel that night, same hotel, for a charity board meeting. I couldn't sleep. Jet lag. Guilt. The usual cocktail. At 2:30 a.m. I went down to the lobby for chamomile and saw the night manager I've known for 15 years. He owed me a favor from the time I quietly settled a lawsuit for his daughter. I asked, half joking, if the security cameras caught anything interesting at weddings. He laughed. Then he hesitated, Then he pulled me into the back office and showed me the footage. Not because he wanted to ruin a wedding, because he'd seen the bride on the screen and recognized my son's face from the engagement announcement in the society pages. He asked if I wanted a copy. I said yes. I didn't cry in that office. I thanked him. I went back to my room. I watched the clip 17 times. Then I made a plan. Now here we were. The bride's face had finally cracked. The perfect smile was gone. Her lips trembled. Her eyes darted to my son, then to the best man, then to me. When they landed on me, she understood. She understood I'd done this on purpose, that I'd paid for the AV guy's discretion, that I'd chosen the exact moment the vows were supposed to be spoken, that I'd waited until every single person they loved was watching. She whispered his name, once, soft, like a plea. My son didn't look at her. He was staring at the black screen like it might change its mind and show him something kinder. I stepped forward, one slow step at a time, heels clicking on marble like a metronome counting down the last seconds of life he thought he was getting. When I reached the front, I didn't look at the bride. I didn't look at the best man. I looked only at my boy. I lifted my hand, laid it gently on his cheek. "I'm sorry," I said. My voice carried through the microphone the officiant had abandoned on the podium. Quiet, steady. The way you speak when the rage is so deep, it's become something calm and holy. But I would rather you hate me for the rest of your life than spend one day married to a lie. His eyes finally met mine. They were wet, red-rimmed, lost. And in that moment, I almost felt bad for what I'd done. Almost. Have you ever had to break your child's heart to save their life? If you agree that a painful truth is better than a comforting lie, please hit subscribe and drop a like right now. Let's expose the betrayal together. The guests started murmuring, low at first, like distant thunder. The bride's mother, a Botoxed socialite in emerald taffeta, gasped so sharply her diamond earrings swung like pendulums. The air smelled of wilting orchids and spilled Veuve Clicquot. Someone's phone buzzed, then another, notifications lighting up screens like fireflies in the dimmed ballroom. Viral already? Good. Let the world see. My son turned to me fully now, his face, pale under the spray tan they'd insisted on for photos, twisted in confusion. "Mum?" One word. Broken. Like he was 6 again, waking from a nightmare about monsters under the bed. Only this monster was real, and wearing his ring on her finger. I kept my hand on his cheek, steady. The pearls at my throat felt heavier. "I had to," I whispered, "just for him." But the microphone caught it anyway, amplified it through the speakers hidden in the floral arches. The room leaned in, hungry for more. The bride, let's call her Eleanor, because names like that sound innocent until they're not, finally found her voice. It cracked like cheap crystal. It's not what it looks like." She reached for my son's arm. He flinched away, like her touch burned. The best man, Travis, the traitor who'd been like a second son to me, stepped back, hands up, palms out, like he was surrendering to an invisible cop. "I can explain," he stammered. His voice echoed off the high ceilings, tinny and false. "Explain?" I almost laughed. The rage inside me, quiet, cold, coiled like a spring, tightened another notch. But on the outside, calm, dignified, the way I'd been trained since I was a girl in finishing school. Never let them see you sweat or scream. I turned to the crowd. Slowly, my voice carried without effort. Years of boardroom speeches paying off. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said, "friends, family, I apologize for the interruption, but some truths can't wait for cake and dancing." A ripple of whispers. Eleanor's father, red-faced, tie askew, stood up in the front row. "What the hell is this, Vivian?" He used my name like a weapon. We'd known each other 30 years. Golf buddies with my late husband. Now, enemies. I ignored him. Looked straight at my son. "Daniel," I said softly, using his full name, the one I'd whispered to him in the hospital the day he was born. "I found this 3 weeks ago. I didn't want to believe it. I hired a private investigator to confirm. Lies? No. Truth stretched thin. The hotel manager's favor had been enough, but I'd gone further. Paid a discreet firm 20 grand to tail her. Photos, texts, more videos. A whole dossier burning in my safe at home. Daniel's eyes widened. What? Betrayal layered on betrayal. His toward her, now mine toward him, for keeping secrets. I had to know, I continued. For you? She's been seeing Travis for months, since before the engagement party. Gasps. Louder now. Elena's maid of honor, a bottle blonde in lavender, covered her mouth. Did she know? Probably. These girls always do. Elena spun toward Travis. You said no one knew. Her whisper hissed through the mic, clipped to her veil. Accidental confession. The room erupted. Not shouts. Not yet. But the murmur swelled to a roar. Travis backed up further, tripped over the altar step, landed hard on his arse. Tux rumpled, face ashen. It's not. We didn't mean. Pathetic. Daniel looked between them, back and forth, like a tennis match where everyone loses. Then he ripped off his boutonniere, threw it at Travis's feet. The white rose petals scattered like confetti from hell. I stepped closer, wrapped my arm around Daniel's waist. He leaned into me, just a little, the way he did as a kid after a scraped knee. But this wound, deeper, bloodless, but fatal. The officiant, a nervous man in a rented robe, cleared his throat. Perhaps we should adjourn to a private. No, I cut him off. Sharp. Controlled. This ends here. Now. Elena's tears started, mascara running in black rivers down her cheeks, ruining the airbrushed perfection. Please, Danny. It was a mistake. One time. Liar. The investigator's report said otherwise. Hotel rooms. Late-night texts. Even a weekend trip disguised as girls' night. Daniel shook his head. Slow. Disbelieving. How long? His voice cracked. The boy I'd raised to be strong sounding so small. She hesitated. Looked at Travis for help. He wouldn't meet her eyes. Coward. Since last summer, I answered for her. Calm. Factual. Like reading a quarterly report. The weekend you were in Tokyo closing that deal. The one where you called me at 3 a.m. Excited because you'd nailed it. He winced. Remembered. Elena's sob echoed. Loud. Theatrical. Her mother rushed the stage. Wrapped her in a hug. Glared at me over her shoulder. You vindictive bitch. Whispered. But I heard. I smiled. Thin. Polite. I've been called worse. By better people. The crowd was splitting now. Some standing. Some whispering. Phones out. Filming. One uncle, mine, bless his nosy heart, yelled from the back. Get her out of here, pointing at Eleanor. Chaos brewing. I felt the tension snap. Daniel pulled away from me. Walked to Elena. Close. Too close. She reached for him again. He caught her wrist. Gentle but firm. Looked at the ring. The 5-carat emerald cut I'd helped him pick. Thinking she was worthy. Take it off, he said. Quiet. But the mic caught it. She shook her head. No. Please. Begging now. He didn't wait. Slid it off her finger himself. Dropped it into his pocket. Turned to Travis. You too. Punched him. Not hard, but square in the jaw. Travis went down again. Blood on his lip. The room exploded. Shouts. Applause? From somewhere in the back. My side of the family, no doubt. Security, hired for paparazzi, rushed in. Useless now. I watched it all. Heart pounding under the silk. Rage simmering. But satisfaction too. Bitter. Cold. Like the champagne I'd never taste tonight. Daniel came back to me. Eyes hard now. Mum, let's go. He took my hand. Led me down the aisle. Away from the wreckage. Behind us. Elena collapsed. Sobbing. Travis scrambled up. Muttering apologies to no one. We reached the doors. Pushed them open. Sunlight hit us. Blinding after the dim hall. Fresh air. No more perfume. No more lies. But it wasn't over. Not yet. The fallout was just beginning. And I knew, deep down, Daniel would thank me one day. Or hate me forever. Either way, I'd saved him. From what? From a life like mine. My husband, God rest his cheating soul, had done the same to me 30 years ago. Affairs. Lies. I'd stayed. For Daniel. But no more cycles. Not for my boy. We stepped into the limo. The driver, loyal, discreet, didn't ask questions. Just drove. Daniel stared out the window. Silent. Then, how did you know? His voice raw. I squeezed his hand. Tell you later. But I would. All of it. The investigator. The late nights poring over evidence. The temptation to confront her privately. To spare him this. Why public? Because private lies fester. Public truth burns clean. He nodded. Leaned his head on my shoulder. Like he was 10 again. I almost felt bad for the spectacle. Almost. The phone in my purse buzzed. Texts from friends. Family. Are you okay? What happened? One from the AV guy. Videos looping on socials. Millions of views. Good. Let it spread. Let cheaters everywhere know. Mothers see everything. We drove in silence. The city blurring past. Skyscrapers. Billboards. One for a divorce lawyer. Ironic. At home, the penthouse overlooking the park, Daniel poured a scotch. Neat. No ice. We sat on the balcony. Sun setting. Orange and pink, streaking the sky like bruises healing. Tell me everything, he said. I did. From the hotel night, the manager's favor, the PI's report, timestamps, locations, even an audio clip of them laughing in a cafe. Her saying, Danny's so clueless. Him replying, that's why this works. Daniel listened, face hardening with each detail. When I finished, he stood, paced, then hugged me, tight. Thank you, whispered. Relief flooded me. The rage ebbed, just a little. But Eleanor, she wasn't done. Her texts started flooding his phone. Apologies. Explanations. I love you. Lies. He blocked her. Travis, too. The next day, headlines. Society wedding implodes. Cheating bride exposed on big screen. Photos of the screen. Of Daniel's punch. Of me, standing serene. Comments poured in. Queen behavior. That mom is a legend. Cheaters deserve it. Viral. Just like I'd hoped? No. Planned? Maybe. Daniel moved back home temporarily. We talked. Really talked. About trust. Red flags I'd seen but ignored at first. Her late nights at work. Travis's overly friendly hugs. He healed. Slow. Gym. Therapy. New job offer in London. Me? I hosted a divorce party for him. Catered. Champagne. No screens this time. Elena's family sued. Breach of something. My lawyers laughed. Countersued for emotional distress. Settled out of court. She paid. Travis? Ghosted. Moved to another state. Good riddance. A year later, Daniel met someone new. Real. Kind. No secrets. At their wedding. Small. Intimate. I watched from the front. No screen. Just vows. Honest ones. He smiled at me during the kiss. Thank you in his eyes. I'd do it again. 1,000 times. Because a mother's love? It's quiet rage wrapped in protection. She wanted a wedding to remember. I gave her one. Share this story if you despise cheaters. And tell me in the comments, if you had proof the bride was cheating, would you stop the wedding publicly or tell the groom privately? The guests' whispers turned to a low hum, like bees trapped in a crystal vase. The scent of wilting gardenias mixed with the sharp tang of spilled red wine from a toppled glass. Elena's veil caught the light from the emergency exits, shimmering like a ghost trying to flee. My son's fist still clenched from the punch, knuckles white against the midnight fabric of his sleeve. Travis wiped blood from his lip with the back of his hand, smearing it across his cheek like war paint. The officiant backed away, robe flapping, abandoning ship. I stood there, pearls cool against my skin, watching the chaos I'd unleashed. Daniel's shoulders heaved once, twice, then stilled. He turned to the crowd, our family on one side, hers on the other, divided like a battlefield. Folks, he said, voice steady now, amplified by the forsaken mic. Show's over. Go home. Simple. Final. Like flipping a switch on a life he'd built brick by illusionary brick. But they didn't move. Not at first. Eyes darted to me, to Elena sobbing in her mother's arms, to Travis scrambling to his feet like a kicked dog. Then the first chair scraped. An aunt from my side stood, clutch purse in hand, lips pursed in silent approval. Others followed, rustling silk, clicking heels, murmurs swelling. Disgraceful. Serves her right. Poor boy. Elena's father stormed the aisle, face purple, tie flapping like a noose undone. You planned this, Vivian. He jabbed a finger at me. Close enough I could smell his bourbon breath. You vindictive old... Daniel stepped between us. Tall, protective, the cub defending the lioness. Back off, Frank. Quiet rage in his tone, mirroring mine. Blood will tell. Frank sputtered. Stopped. Glanced at the phones still recording, the whispers turning to outright chatter. He grabbed Elena's arm, none too gently, and dragged her toward the side exit. Her sobs echoed off the vaulted ceiling, mascara tracks carving canyons down her face. The bridal party trailed, dresses whispering apologies to the floor. Travis slunk after them, avoiding eyes, Tux dishevelled like his soul. We didn't follow. Daniel and I walked the main aisle, slow, heads high, flanked by my family now, a phalanx of support, cousins nodding, uncles clapping Daniel on the back. One whispered, "Good riddance to bad rubbish." I almost smiled. Outside, the valet scrambled, limousines idling, exhaust curling in the cool evening air. Paparazzi, tipped off, who knows, flashed cameras from behind velvet ropes. "Daniel, what happened? Elena, is it over?" We ignored them, slid into our car, the one I'd reserved separately just in case. The drive home was silent at first, city lights streaking past like falling stars. Daniel stared at his hands, the ring still in his pocket, I knew. A weight, a reminder. "Why public, Mum?" he finally asked, voice raw as scraped knees. "Why not tell me alone?" I smoothed my skirt, pearls clicking softly. "Because private pain festers, darling. It whispers doubts. Maybe it's not true. Maybe forgive. Public. It burns the bridge. No going back. Truth. From experience. My own marriage. 30 years of whispers about my husband's secretaries, his business trips. I'd confronted privately. Forgiven. Regretted. He nodded. Slow. Absorbing. "And the video?" "How?" I told him. The hotel insomniac wonder. The manager's debt repaid in pixels. The PI I'd hired the next day. Discreet. Expensive. Thorough. Reports of stolen lunches in parks. Late-night Ubers to Travis's apartment. Texts I'd had pulled from backups. "I love the thrill," one read. "Danny's safe. You're fire." Vomit-inducing. Daniel winced at each detail, face paling under the passing streetlights. I missed it all. Self-recrimination sharp as a blade. "You trusted," I said. "That's not a flaw. It's a gift. One they abused." At the penthouse, doorman tipping his hat like nothing happened. Inside, marble floors cool, air scented with the lavender diffuser I favored. Daniel collapsed on the sectional, loosened his tie. I poured cognac, aged, amber, from the decanter. We clinked glasses. Silent toast to survival. His phone exploded then. Notifications like fireworks. Texts from friends. "Dude, you okay? Legendary exit." Social media tags. The video, my video, already clipped, shared, memed. #wedding fail. #cheater exposed. Views climbing. Millions. He scrolled, face flickering in the screen glow. A laugh escaped. Bitter. Surprised. "They're calling you the Revenge Queen." Showed me a tweet. My face, serene amid chaos, captioned, "When Mom goes nuclear." I sipped. Allowed a small smile. Better than vindictive bitch. But Elena's messages came too. Flooding. "I'm sorry. It meant nothing. Please talk." He read one aloud. "Travis was a mistake. You're my forever." Snorted. Deleted. Blocked. Travis tried next. Bro code apologies. "We can fix this." Daniel's reply, one word. "No." Blocked. The night stretched. We talked till dawn. About red flags. Her possessiveness over her phone. Travis's inside jokes that excluded him. About my marriage. Confessions I'd held back. "Your father wasn't faithful. I stayed for you. Don't repeat my mistakes." He hugged me at sunrise. Tight. "I'm glad you did it." Whispered. Relief in his voice. But fallout brewed. Next day, headlines screamed. "Society scandal, groom's mum drops cheating bombshell at altar." Photos. The screen. The punch. My calm face. Interviews requested. I declined. Let the story speak. Elena's family lawyered up. Defamation threats. Emotional distress. My attorneys, sharks in suits, countered. Truth is absolute defense. Evidence ironclad. They settled fast. 6 figures to a charity of my choice. Women's shelter. Fitting. Travis vanished. Job lost. Our circles talk. Moved west. Started over? Who cares? Daniel took time off. We travelled. Greece. Sun-soaked ruins. Ouzo by the sea. He healed. Laughed again. Dated casually. No rush. Back home. He revamped. New apartment. Promotion at work. Therapy sessions I insisted on. And joined sometimes. A year on, at a gallery opening, mine, naturally, he met Sophia. Artist. Warm eyes. No secrets. They clicked. Slow build. Real. Their wedding? Beach. 20 guests. No screens. Vows handwritten. I watched. Pearls the same. Heart full. He toasted me. To the woman who saved me from myself. eyes shining. I'd do it again. Rage quiet. Protection fierce. But that night, after the failed wedding, as Daniel slept, I stood on the balcony. City humming below. Wind carrying distant sirens. I allowed one tear. For his pain. Then wiped it. Steel returned. Mothers don't break. We bend the world. The scandal faded. But online, eternal. Clips resurface. Warnings to cheaters. Elena, remarried quick. Some fool. Travis, irrelevant. Daniel thrives. That's the win. I almost regretted the public spectacle. Almost. Have you ever had to shatter illusions to build truth? If you believe exposure heals, subscribe and like. Let's unmask more. The aftershocks rippled wider than I anticipated. 2 weeks post-wedding, a knock at the door. Courier. Envelope thick with legal jargon. Not from Elena's camp, from Travis's lawyer. Cease and desist on the video distribution. Privacy violation. I laughed. Cold. Quiet. Forwarded to my team. They buried it in countersuits. Video was public domain now. Hotel security? Waived rights. Done. But curiosity nagged. Why fight now? I dug. Called the PI again. $5,000 for a quick check. Report back. Travis engaged. New girl. Rich. Didn't know his past. Video threatened that. I considered leaking more. But no. Enough damage. Let karma handle. Daniel moved on faster than expected. Joined a startup. Traveled solo. Came back bronzed. Focused. Mum, you were right. Over dinner one night. Candlelight flickering on silverware. About everything. We bonded deeper. Shared stories I'd buried. My youth. Ambitious. Married young to his father for status. Regrets. Lessons. 6 months in, Eleanor reached out. Not to him. To me. Email. Polite. Can we talk? I met her. Coffee shop. Neutral ground. She looked thinner. No makeup. Eyes red-rimmed. Why? She asked. Voice small. Because he deserved better. Simple. No malice. Fact. She nodded. Admitted all. Affair started innocent. Flirtation at a party. Escalated. Travis pushed. Blame shift. Typical. I listened. Sipped latte. Felt nothing. No pity. No rage. Just closure. Learn from it, I said. Left. She did. Maybe. Socials showed therapy posts. Self-help quotes. Daniel's new life bloomed. Sophia entered stage left. Gallery meet cute. She painted abstracts. Swirls of emotion he needed. First date. Picnic in the park. He called me after. Giddy. Like teen years. I vetted her. Discreetly. Clean. Genuine. Their engagement? Quiet dinner. Ring modest. Meaningful. Wedding day. Sand between toes. Waves crashing. Vows. I promised truth. Always. I cried then. Quietly. Reception. Laughter. Dancing barefoot. No drama. Toast. To second chances. Mine to him. Back home. Life normalized. But the story lives on. YouTube retellings. Podcasts. Even a Lifetime movie pitch. Declined. Viral legacy. Warnings etched in digital stone. If I'd chosen private, he might have forgiven. Stayed trapped. Public. Freed him. Choice made. No regrets. Almost felt sorry for Elena's ruined lace. Almost. The deeper dive came later. Daniel asked for the full dossier. One rainy afternoon. We spread it on the dining table. Photos, transcripts, timelines. He pored over. Face stoic. It's worse. Whispered. Yes. Affair predated proposal. Planned overlap. He burned it all. Symbolic. Fireplace roaring. Healing complete. Now? Grandkids on horizon? Sophia glows. I watch. Protect from afar. Mothers never stop. She craved spectacle. Got apocalypse. Share if you've faced betrayal. Comment. Public or private exposure? The echoes of the slammed doors still rang in my ears as we pulled away from the venue. The limo's tires humming over the asphalt like a lullaby for the broken-hearted. The city lights smeared into streaks of gold and red through the tinted windows, mirroring the blur in Daniel's eyes. He sat rigid beside me, tuxedo jacket unbuttoned, tie dangling like a noose he'd escaped. The air inside smelled of leather and faint cigar smoke from some previous passenger, perhaps another soul fleeing a disaster. I kept my hands folded in my lap, pearls a steady weight, grounding me amid the storm I'd stirred. Daniel didn't speak for miles. His phone vibrated incessantly in his pocket, an angry hornet's nest of notifications. Finally, he pulled it out, glanced at the screen, and powered it off with a deliberate press. The silence deepened, broken only by the driver's soft radio. Jazz, ironic and smooth. I waited. A mother knows when to push and when to let the wound breathe. Why didn't I see it? His voice cracked, the quiet, low and accusing. Not at me, at himself. The self-doubt I'd feared. The poison that cheaters leave behind. I turned to him, my cream silk rustling softly. Because love blinds us, darling. It paints over the cracks until the whole wall crumbles. Words from my own bitter lessons distilled over decades. He nodded, head against the window, fogging the glass with his breath. Tell me how you really found out. All of it. No more summaries. I sighed inwardly. The full truth was sharper than the edited version I'd given earlier, but he deserved it, needed it to cauterize the hurt. It started 6 months ago, I began, voice steady as a boardroom presentation, at the engagement party. Remember? The yacht on the harbour. Fireworks at midnight. He murmured assent. I saw them then. Eleanor and Travis. A glance too long across the deck. Her hand on his arm, lingering. I dismissed it. Nerves, I thought. Champagne. But doubt seeded. Tiny. Insidious. Weeks later, a lunch with Eleanor. Wedding planning. Flowers. Venues. The endless details that mask deep fractures. She was flawless. Smiles. Compliments. Vivian, you're like the mother I never had. But her phone buzzed. She checked it discreetly, but I caught the sender. T. Heart emoji. Innocent? Perhaps. But my instincts, honed from years in high-stakes mergers where lies cost millions, flared. I hired the investigator that afternoon. Discreet firm, recommended by a fellow widow who'd uncovered her own husband's indiscretions. 25,000 retainer. Worth every penny. They tailed her. Photos first. Coffee with Travis. Heads close. Laughing in a corner booth. Then texts, pulled from cloud backups. Legal grey area, but effective. I miss you already. Can't wait for tonight. Timestamps matching Daniel's business trips. The hotel video was the crown jewel. Bachelorette weekend in Vegas. I'd flown in for a surprise visit, but really to oversee. Insomnia struck. Lobby wander. The manager, old acquaintance from charity galas, owed me for bailing his son out of a DUI scandal. Security feed access. There it was. 2:17 a.m. Her slipping down the hall, robe barely tied, into Travis's room. 47 minutes later, out again, dishevelled and smug. I watched it in that dim office, heart pounding under my pearls. No tears, just resolve. I copied it, thanked him, flew home, planned. Daniel listened, face illuminated in flashes from passing cars. His jaw tightened at each revelation. They were, the whole time, disbelief, warring with acceptance. Since before the ring, I confirmed. The PI found emails, planning meetups around your schedule. Even jokes about it. One read, Danny's off to Chicago. Our weekend. Vile. He rubbed his temples. I proposed right after that trip. She said yes so fast. Hindsight's cruel clarity. The limo pulled into the underground garage of our building. Security nodded as we exited, elevators whisking us to the penthouse. Inside, the space felt cavernous, marble echoing our footsteps, city skyline mocking through floor-to-ceiling glass. Daniel shed his jacket, rolled up sleeves, poured bourbon from the bar cart. Neat. 2 fingers. Handed me one. We sat on the terrace despite the chill, blankets draped, stars competing with the urban glow. Wind carried distant traffic hum, a soundtrack to unraveling. I almost confronted her then, I admitted. 3 weeks ago, after the video, called her to tea. She showed up in designer casual, all smiles and wedding chatter. I paused, sipping the burn. But I watched her lie seamlessly about her spa day, code for a rendezvous. Knew private wouldn't work. She'd deny, twist. You'd doubt. He stared into his glass. I might have believed her. Honest. Painful. Exactly. Public exposure, stripped defenses. No room for gaslighting in front of 300 witnesses. His laugh was bitter. And now the world's seen it. Phones were out. He pulled his own back on. Screen lit with alerts. Clips already viral. TikTok edits with dramatic music. Twitter threads dissecting every frame. #Mum of the Year. #Cheating bride down. I watched him scroll, expression shifting from hurt to grim amusement. They're memeing my punch. Showed me. Travis falling, captioned, "When betrayal hits back." We chuckled. Dark, cathartic. But then Elena's texts flooded in. Walls of pleas. It was nothing. "I love you. Let me explain." He read aloud, voice mocking her desperation. "Block her," I advised. He did. Travis next. "Bro, mistake. Talk?" Deleted. The night deepened. We dissected memories. Her jealousy over his work friends. Projection? Travis's bro hugs too tight. Red flags waving, ignored in love's fog. By dawn, exhaustion claimed him. He crashed in his old room, preserved like a shrine. I stood at the door, watching him sleep, chest rising steady. My cub, wounded but alive. But I didn't sleep. Adrenaline lingered. I paced the study, pearls removed, laid on the desk like surrendered armor, opened the safe. The full dossier, more photos, audio from a bugged lunch. Illegal? Plausible deniability. Her laughing. "Danny's sweet, but boring." Travis. "We'll keep it fun." Rage flared anew. Quiet. Internal. I burned a copy. Symbolic flames in the fireplace. Ashes for ashes. Morning brought media frenzy. Doorbell buzzed. Reporters camped. I ignored. Called lawyers instead. Prepped for fallout. Elena's family struck first. Lawsuit. Slander. Invasion of privacy. My team countered. Truth defense. Countersuit for fraud. Emotional. Financial. Wedding costs. Discovery would bury them. Frank called personally. Blustering. "You'll regret this, Vivian." I replied, calm, doubtful. Hung up. Daniel woke to breakfast. Fresh croissants, coffee strong. We strategized. He cancelled honeymoon tickets. Froze joint accounts. Therapist appointment booked. Weeks blurred. Viral peak. Talk shows debating, was the mum right? Polls, 78% yes. I declined interviews. Let actions speak. Daniel retreated. Gym sessions brutal. Runs at dawn. Slowly. Light returned. A promotion. Focus sharpened by pain. Elena faded. Socials dark. Rumors. Therapy. Move abroad. Travis? Fired from his firm. Ethics clause. Ghosted friends. 7 months later. A gallery invite. Sophia's show. Daniel attended solo. Came home buzzing. "Mum, she's amazing." Artist. Vibrant. No shadows. I vetted. Clean. Their first date? Museum stroll. He confided the story. She listened. Understood. Court. Settled. They paid damages. Donated to anti-infidelity charity. My stipulation. Daniel proposed to Sophia a year on. Quiet beach. Ring simple. Wedding. Intimate. Vows raw. I beamed. Legacy. Story inspires. Mothers message me. "You gave me courage." I'd shatter again. For him. But in quiet moments I wonder, was the rage too loud? Almost. Have you ever orchestrated truth's unveiling? If exposure empowers, subscribe like. Join the reckoning. The ripples extended further, touching unexpected shores. A month post-debacle, an envelope arrived. Anonymous, postmarked Vegas. Inside, USB drive. More footage? I plugged in. Cautious. Hotel manager's note. "Thought you should have the full tape. Audio synced." Elena's voice. "Danny suspects nothing." Travis. "Good. After the wedding, we end it." Liar. Plans for continuation. I showed Daniel. Final nail. He smashed the drive. Healing accelerated. We volunteered. Mentoring youth on relationships. Shared sanitized story. Sophia integrated seamlessly. Family dinners. Laughter genuine. At their rehearsal, no screens. Just toasts. Daniel's to me. For the save. Bliss. But Elena resurfaced. Book deal rumor. My side. Spin. Victim of controlling MIL. My lawyer's prepped injunction. Story evolves. Viral anew. Protection eternal. She sought fame. Got infamy. Full continuous narrative voiceover script in the required style. The first light of morning crept across the penthouse floor like an uninvited guest. Pale and hesitant. As if it knew the night before had left scars too fresh to touch. I hadn't slept. Not really. I'd sat in the study until the sky turned lavender. Pearls discarded on the desk. Fingers tracing the rim of an empty cognac glass. The city below never truly sleeps, and neither did the internet. Daniel's phone, now powered back on, had become a portal to Judgment Day. Thousands of notifications. Strangers calling me icon, legend, savage. Others calling me monster, controlling, cruel. The split was perfect. Half the world cheered the mother who protected her son. The other half mourned the ruined bride in her ruined lace. Daniel emerged from his room around 8, hair disheveled, eyes hollow, but clearer than the night before. He wore yesterday's dress shirt, sleeves rolled, collar open, no tie, no armor. He poured coffee black, strong enough to wake the dead, and sat across from me at the island. We didn't speak for a long minute, just the clink of spoon against porcelain, the distant hum of traffic far below. Then he asked the question I'd been dreading. Did you ever think about telling me privately? Not angry, curious, testing the wound. I met his gaze. Steady. Yes, honest. Every single day for those 3 weeks. I rehearsed it in my head. Quiet dinner, gentle words, evidence laid out like a legal brief. I paused. But every time I imagined it, I saw you forgiving her, saw you rationalizing, saw the doubt creep in until you convinced yourself the video was old, the texts were jokes, the hotel was a misunderstanding. I leaned forward. I saw you marry her anyway, because you love hard, Daniel. You always have. And love like that? It blinds. It forgives too much. He swallowed, nodded once. I would have. Voice small. I know I would have. Silence again. Heavy. Necessary. Then he reached across the marble and took my hand. Fingers cold. Thank you for not giving me the choice. The dam broke then. Not tears, not sobs. Just a slow exhale from both of us, like we'd been holding our breath since the quartet stopped playing. We stayed like that until the coffee went cold. The days that followed were a blur of logistics and fallout. Daniel cancelled the honeymoon in Santorini, transferred the villa to a young couple who'd booked last minute. He said it felt right. Someone should get a happy ending out of this mess. I handled the vendors, florist, caterer, photographer. Each call started with shock, ended with quiet sympathy. The cake, 5 tiers of vanilla and rosé, went to a children's hospital. Better use for sugar than regret. Social media became a second battlefield. Elena's accounts went dark within hours, but screenshots lived forever. Her last post before the wedding, a mirror selfie in the gown, caption, "Can't wait to be Mrs." Last name. Comments now. Vicious, gleeful, heartbroken. Girl, you fumbled. Queen mum energy. Cheaters never win. Travis tried damage control, a vague LinkedIn post about personal growth and learning from mistakes, deleted within an hour. His company issued a statement. Separation due to personal reasons. Polite code for, we don't employ homewreckers. My own circle divided. Some friends called to congratulate, others to condemn. One old acquaintance, wife of my late husband's business partner, texted, "You went too far, Vivian. Humiliation isn't justice." I didn't reply. She'd stayed married through 3 affairs. Her opinion held no weight. Daniel moved out after a week. Said he needed space, not distance. Rented a loft downtown. Minimalist, modern, nothing like the home he'd planned with her. I helped him unpack. We hung art, laid rugs, pretended normalcy. He started therapy, twice a week. Came home lighter each time. Told me once over takeout. The therapist said I have trust issues now. Laughed. Bitter. But at least they're honest ones. I smiled. Small, proud. 3 months in, the first real crack in the armor. He called me at midnight, voice thick. I miss her. Not Eleanor the person. The idea. The future he'd built in his head. The wedding photos that never existed. I drove over. Sat with him on the couch until dawn. Listened. Didn't fix. Just witnessed. By month 6, he was dating again. Cautious. Coffee dates. No sleepovers. Told me about a woman named Claire. Lawyer. Sharp. Funny. They lasted 3 weeks. Ended amicably. She asked about the wedding video, he said. Everyone does. He shrugged. I'm a walking cautionary tale now. I laughed. Dark. At least you're memorable. The lawsuit came and went. Eleanor's family dropped it after discovery started. My lawyers had the PI's full report ready to file. They settled quietly. Money went to a foundation for domestic abuse survivors. Poetic, I thought. Eleanor herself disappeared from the society pages. Last I heard, she'd moved to a smaller city upstate. New job, new life, new boyfriend, according to a mutual acquaintance who couldn't resist gossiping. I felt nothing. Not pity, not triumph. Just closure. Travis fared worse. Lost his condo. Lost his circle. Rumors said he was bartending in Miami. I didn't verify. Didn't care. Daniel's life rebuilt itself brick by deliberate brick. New friends, new routines, a promotion that took him to London for 6 months. He called every Sunday, sent photos of foggy streets, pub lunches, the Thames at dusk. He sounded free. When he returned, he brought someone. Sophia met her at an art gallery. Her gallery. She painted massive abstracts, storms of colour, emotion made visible, exactly what he needed after monochrome betrayal. They were careful at first. Dinner at my place. She was warm, grounded, asked real questions, didn't flinch when the story came up. Said, "Your mum is a badass." I liked her instantly. Their relationship grew slow and strong. No rush, no fairy tale. Just two people choosing each other every day. When he proposed, quiet, on a rooftop in Brooklyn, no crowd, no cameras, she said yes, showed me the ring later. Simple sapphire, meaningful. The wedding was nothing like the first one. Beach house in Maine, 30 people, barefoot on the sand, no string quartet, just a guitar and the ocean, no massive screen, no secrets waiting to detonate. I stood in the front row, cream linen dress, same pearls, watching my son look at a woman the way he used to look at the world, open, trusting, whole. When they kissed, the small crowd cheered. No phones out, no viral moment, just joy, pure, earned. At the reception, lanterns, lobster rolls, bare feet in the sand. Daniel pulled me aside, hugged me long. "Thank you," he whispered, "for all of it." I held him tighter, felt the boy and the man at once. Later, Sophia found me by the water, handed me a glass of champagne. "To the woman who made this possible," she said. We clinked. I smiled. Real. Rare. The video still circulates. Every few months, it resurfaces. New comments. New debates. Would you do it? Public or private? I never answer. Let them decide for themselves. But I know what I chose. And I'd choose it again. Quiet rage. Loud truth. A mother's promise. She wanted forever. I gave my son a chance at it. Share this story if you believe some truths are worth the wreckage. And tell me in the comments, if you had proof the bride was cheating, would you stop the wedding publicly or tell the groom privately? The salt air whipped through my hair as I stood on the deck of the beach house, watching Daniel and Sophia exchange rings under a simple arch of driftwood and wildflowers. No chandeliers here, no 300 guests in rented finery. Just the crash of waves, the cry of gulls, and the soft murmur of 30 loved ones, real ones, vetted by time and truth. My cream linen dress fluttered in the breeze, pearls warm from the sun against my skin. Daniel looked at Sophia with eyes unshadowed, his smile the kind that reaches deep inside, the kind I hadn't seen since before Elena's name poisoned our family. When they kissed, the small crowd erupted in cheers. Genuine, unscripted, no microphones, no screens, no hidden daggers. I clapped along, heart swelling in a way it hadn't for years. But beneath the joy, the quiet rage lingered, a faint echo, like thunder long after the storm, not at Elena anymore, at the world that lets cheaters thrive until someone like me steps in. Daniel caught my eye during the applause, mouthed, "Thank you." I nodded, once, resolute. The reception was simple magic, lanterns strung between palms, tables laden with fresh seafood, barefoot dancing on the sand as the sun dipped into the ocean, painting everything gold and crimson. Laughter bubbled like the Prosecco we poured freely. Sophia pulled me into a hug, her paint-stained hands gentle on my shoulders. "You're family now," she whispered, and for the first time in forever, the word didn't taste like ash. But memories have a way of crashing uninvited. As I watched Daniel twirl Sophia under the stars, my mind drifted back to that first wedding day, the one that never was, the string quartet's abrupt silence, the collective gasp as the video played, Elena's perfect face crumbling like wet sugar, Travis hitting the floor after Daniel's punch. I'd replayed it in my head 1,000 times, questioning not the act, but the aftermath I hadn't foreseen. It started with the media storm, not just tabloids, national news. Mother's dramatic wedding intervention goes viral. Interviews requested. Podcasts begging for my side. I declined them all. Let the footage speak. But Elena didn't stay silent. 6 months after the debacle, she surfaced with a tell-all interview on a morning show. blonde highlights, fresh Botox, voice trembling just enough for sympathy. She destroyed my life, Elena said, dabbing at dry eyes. Vivian is controlling, obsessed. It was one mistake. Lies wrapped in victimhood. The host nodded empathetically. Ratings gold. Daniel saw it first. Texted me. Don't watch. Too late. I did. From the penthouse balcony, coffee in hand, city sprawl below. Rage stirred. Quiet. Familiar. But I didn't react publicly. No statements. No counters. Instead, I called the PI one last time. 10 grand for dirt. Report back. Eleanor engaged to a new mark. Wealthy widower, twice her age. Travis, her co-author on a book proposal. Betrayed at the altar. My story of survival. Ghostwriter shopping it around. I almost leaked the extra footage. The audio where she mocked Daniel's cluelessness. Almost. But satisfaction comes in restraint. I forwarded the PI's findings anonymously to the widower's daughter. Let family protect family. The book never materialized. The engagement fizzled. Coincidence? Perhaps. Daniel healed in layers. Therapy peeled back the trust issues, the self-doubt. He confided once, over wine at my place. I dreamed about the wedding last night. Not the real one. The fake one. Woke up relieved. Progress. Sophia was the balm. They met at her exhibit. Swirls of blue and grey. Canvases that captured betrayal's storm without words. He bought one. Hung it in his loft as a reminder. Beauty from chaos. Their first date. Walking the High Line. Talking art and scars. She shared her own story. Ex who lied for years. Bonded over survival. I vetted her quietly. No PI this time. Just coffee chats, shared lunches. She was real. Daughter of teachers. Built her gallery from scratch. No hidden robes. No midnight knocks. When Daniel proposed, he asked my blessing first. Over breakfast. Eyes earnest. Mum, is she? He trailed off. I squeezed his hand. She's gold, darling. Pure. The wedding planning was joy. No six-figure lace. Sophia made her own dress. Flowing cotton, embroidered with tiny waves. We picked wildflowers together. Laughed at Pinterest fails. No tension. No secrets. But Eleanor's ghost lingered. A week before the ceremony, a package arrived at Daniel's door. No return address. Inside, the engagement ring he'd slid off her finger that day. Note, you dropped this. Her handwriting. Petty. Pathetic. He showed me. We burned the note. Pawned the ring. Donated proceeds to an infidelity support group. Poetic closure. The beach ceremony was flawless. Vows handwritten. I choose you. Flaws and all. Truth above everything. I teared up then. Quiet. Controlled. No one saw. Reception toasts. Daniel's to Sophia. Hers to him. Then mine. Short. To love that endures. To truth that sets free. Clinks echoed over the waves. Dancing till midnight. Daniel pulled me onto the sand. Slow sway. You're my hero, he murmured. I almost believed it. Almost. Post-wedding. Life bloomed. They honeymooned in Italy. Vineyards, ruins, no drama. Back home, Sophia's gallery thrived. Daniel launched his own venture. Tech startup. Innovative. Risky. Succeeded. Me. I travelled. Europe. Asia. Wrote a memoir draft. Anonymous. Titled Quiet Rage. Shelved it. For now. The video? Still online. Resurfaces with every cheating scandal. Comments. This mum is goals. Would you do it? Debate rage. One night, a message from Eleanor. Private DM. Years later. I'm sorry. No more. I deleted. Moved on. Grandkids came. 2. Bouncing curls. Daniel's eyes. I spoil them. Teach them. Trust, but verify. Protection never ends. She sought a fairy tale. I ensured a real one. Share this story if you champion truth over illusion. And tell me in the comments, if you had proof the bride was cheating, would you stop the wedding publicly or tell the groom privately? The first cry of my grandson echoed through the hospital room like a victory shout, piercing the sterile air scented with antiseptic and fresh linens. Daniel stood beside Sophia's bed, eyes wide and wet, holding her hand as the nurse swaddled the tiny bundle in blue. I waited outside the door at first, giving them space, pearls fingering nervously at my throat. But when Daniel poked his head out, grinning like the boy who'd just won his first soccer trophy, I stepped in. The room was soft chaos, monitors beeping faintly, Sophia glowing despite the exhaustion, the baby, my grandson, wriggling with new life. I held him carefully, his weight feather light, his tiny fingers curling around mine. In that moment, the quiet rage that had defined me for so long melted into something warmer. Protection had paid off. This was the future I'd fought for. Not the tainted one Elena would have poisoned. But let's rewind, because happy endings aren't handed out. They're forged in the fire of what came before. After Daniel and Sophia's beach wedding, life settled into a rhythm I hadn't known since my own early marriage days, before the cracks appeared. They bought a brownstone in Brooklyn, filled it with art and light. Sophia painted in a sunlit studio. Daniel coded late into the night for his startup. I visited often, brunches, walks in the park, quiet evenings where we talked about everything but the past. Yet the past has a way of knocking. It started with a podcast episode. 2 years post-debacle, Elena resurfaced. Not in person, digitally. Surviving public humiliation, my wedding nightmare. She painted herself as the victim, manipulated by Travis, ambushed by me. Vivian is a mastermind, she said, voice dripping faux vulnerability. She orchestrated it all for control. Listeners ate it up. Comments. Poor girl. That mum is toxic. The video clip recirculated. Views spiked again. Daniel heard about it from a friend. Called me laughing. Genuine this time. Mum, she's still spinning. We listened together over speakerphone. Sophia joined, rolling her eyes. Classic gaslight. No rage from me. Just amusement. Quiet. Satisfied. But I checked anyway. Old habits. A quick call to an acquaintance in publishing. Elena's book was shopping agents again. Advances promised. I considered intervening. Anonymous tip about the audio tapes. But no, let her dig deeper. She did. The book released. Veiled betrayal. Bestseller lists briefly. Reviews mixed. Some called it empowering. Others, fiction. Daniel read it. Snorted at the lies. She says you bugged her phone. Close enough. We burned a copy in the fireplace. Ritualistic. Laughed. Travis? Faded to irrelevance. Last sighting. Some mid-level job in tech. Far from our circles. No more bro apologies. Daniel's startup boomed. Acquired. Millions. He invested wisely. Sophia opened a second gallery. They travelled. Bali, Iceland. Places Elena had pinned on mood boards, but never reached. Then the pregnancy. Announced over dinner at my penthouse. Champagne swapped for sparkling water. I cried then. Openly. First time in years. The quiet months. Ultrasounds. Nursery painting. Baby showers, small and sweet. No drama. Sophia confided. I'm scared I'll mess up. I hugged her. We all are. That's motherhood. Delivery day. Smooth. 8 pounds. Named after my late husband. Full circle. Holding that baby, I flashed back to Daniel's birth. Same hospital. Same joy. But this time, no shadows. Life accelerated. Grandma duties. Storytime. Park swings. Pearls set aside for sticky fingers. Daniel watched me with him. Said once, "You saved this too, Mom," meaning the lineage, the unbroken chain. But Elena's book tour brought a twist. She appeared on a talk show, mentioned reaching out to Daniel. Lies. He'd blocked her eons ago, but fans doxed. Messages flooded. Forgive her. She's changed. We ignored. But one night, a knock. Courier. Package for Daniel. Inside, signed book. Note, for old times. Creepy. Sophia shredded it. We upped security. The rage flickered. Quiet. I made a call. Old PI friend. Update. Elena divorced from the widower. Book sales tanking. Living modest. Karma's slow burn. Years passed. Grandson grew. Toddler tantrums, first words. Nana. Melted me. Another grandkid. Girl. Same joy. Daniel's company went public. Wealth secured. Me? I mentored women. Quietly. Shared stories at luncheons. Protect your own. The video? Cultural artifact now. Referenced in movies. Memes. Pull a Vivian means exposed dramatically. One day a letter. Handwritten. From Eleanor. Real apology. No excuses. I've learned. Therapy mentioned. I showed Daniel. He shrugged. Too late. Burned it. Closure. Now at family gatherings. Beach house revisited. Laughter fills. Sophia paints family portraits. Daniel teaches code to the kids. I watch. Pearls on. Rage dormant. Protected cub thrives. She wanted legacy. I built one. The deeper peace came unexpectedly. 5 years on, Daniel surprised me with a trip. Italy, same as their honeymoon. We walked cobblestone streets, ate gelato, visited ruins. One evening, wine by the fountain. He said, "Mum, I forgive you." For what? The pain. But added, "And thank you for it." Healing full. Back home, I wrote my story. Published anonymous. Quiet Rage, a mother's manifesto. Proceeds to charities. Inspired others. Messages. You gave me strength to leave. Legacy mine. Elena? Faded. Travis? Forgotten. Grandkids ask about the video. One day. Daniel tells sanitized version. Grandma saved the day. I smile. Almost regretted the spectacle. Almost. Have you ever turned rage to rescue? If truth liberates, subscribe, like. Exposed together. The final chapter unfolded quietly. 10 years post-wedding. Grandkids in school. Daniel CEO. Sophia renowned artist. I retired to a villa upstate. Gardens, books, peace. But one call. Producer. Movie based on the story. Consult? Declined. Let fiction stay fiction. Visited Elena's old haunts once. Curiosity. She's a therapist now. Irony. No contact. Life full. Cubs safe. She dreamed big. I dreamed true. Years have a way of softening the sharpest edges. But some memories stay razor fresh, like a photograph that refuses to fade. I sit on the wide veranda of the upstate villa now. Late afternoon sun, slanting golden across the rose garden I finally planted after decades of excuses. Pearls still around my throat. Same triple strand, a little looser these days. Grandchildren's laughter drifts from the lawn below. My grandson chasing fireflies with a mason jar. My granddaughter trailing him with a butterfly net she insists is for catching dreams. Daniel and Sophia watch from the Adirondack chairs, hands linked. The kind of quiet contentment that only comes after surviving something that could have destroyed you. I watch them and think, this is the ending I bought with 3 weeks of sleepless nights and one perfectly timed press of a play button. But endings are never really endings. They're just pauses, and sometimes the past knocks, polite but insistent, reminding you that nothing stays buried forever. It was the 10th anniversary of that ruined wedding day. Exactly a decade since the string quartet froze, since the screen lit up with betrayal, since my son's heart shattered in front of 300 witnesses. Daniel called me that morning, voice calm. "Mum, you won't believe who emailed me. Eleanor, not a DM, not a book promo. A real old-fashioned email. Subject. 10 years. I owe you both an apology." He forwarded it to me without comment. I read it on the terrace, coffee going cold. No excuses this time. No victim narrative. Just plain sentences. I was wrong. I hurt Daniel deeply, and I hurt you by extension. I spent years blaming everyone else. Therapy finally taught me to own it. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed to say it. Signed simply, Eleanor. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. No rage surged. No satisfaction either. Just a strange, hollow quiet, like the last note of a song you've hated for years, finally fading out. Daniel asked what I thought he should do. I told him the truth. Whatever feels right for you. Not for her. Not for me. You. He chose silence. No reply. No acknowledgement. Some apologies come too late to mend anything. They only serve the sender. Travis never reached out. Last I heard, through a cousin who still follows gossip. He'd married, divorced, moved to a small town in Oregon, works in real estate now. No social media, no trace. Good. The viral video? It's become folklore. Every few years it resurfaces. New TikTok sound, new reaction channels, new think pieces about motherly love versus public shaming. Polls still run 70-30 in my favor. People message me. You gave me the courage to leave my husband. You saved my daughter from the same mistake. You're the villain in this story. I read them all. Answer none. Let the story live its own life. Daniel and Sophia built something unbreakable. Their marriage isn't perfect. Whose is? But it's honest. They fight. They apologize. They check in. They never let silence grow into secrets. When the kids ask about the old wedding, Daniel tells them a gentle version. Grandma saw something important, and she made sure everyone knew. Because love means protecting people, even when it hurts. They nod solemnly, then run off to play again. Me? I've slowed down, travel less, garden more. write letters by hand to old friends. Every Sunday, Daniel brings the family upstate. We cook together. Sophia's pasta, my roast chicken, the kids' messy brownies. Laughter fills rooms that used to echo with loneliness. One evening, after the children were asleep and the stars were thick overhead, Daniel found me on the veranda with a glass of red. He sat beside me. No words for a while, just crickets and the rustle of leaves. Then he said, "I never told you this." Pause. "I used to be angry at you. Not the day it happened. The day after. When the pain really hit. I thought, why couldn't you have told me quietly? Why make me bleed in front of everyone?" He looked out at the dark lawn. "But I get it now. If you'd told me alone, I would have stayed. I would have married her. And those kids down there? They wouldn't exist. This life wouldn't exist." He turned to me. "So thank you. For the public pain. For the private salvation." I reached over, squeezed his hand. Pearls cool between our fingers. "You're welcome," I whispered. We sat like that until the bottle was empty and the night grew cool. Then he kissed my cheek, went inside to his family. I stayed out a while longer, looking at the same stars I'd stared at the night I decided to press play. The rage was gone now, not suppressed, not buried, just finished, replaced by something steadier, something earned. I almost felt sorry for the girl in the hotel hallway, robe loose, champagne in hand. Almost. But mostly I felt grateful. Grateful for the instinct that whispered danger. Grateful for the courage to act. Grateful for the son who forgave the method because he loved the result. She wanted a wedding to remember. I gave her one. And in doing so, I gave my son a life worth living. The story ends here, not with fireworks, not with revenge, with quiet, with family, with truth that finally settled into peace. If you've made it this far, thank you for walking this road with me. Share this story if you believe that sometimes the most loving thing a mother can do is break a few hearts to save one. And tell me in the comments, right now, be honest. If you had undeniable proof the bride was cheating, would you stop the wedding publicly like I did? Or would you tell the groom privately and let him decide? I'll be reading. Always.